Hi there, welcome back. Welcome back to my channel, a little bit about everything. There's a tongue twister, huh? This video is going to be about something that I've been wanting for a while, and it always makes whatever you make stronger and more appealing to the eye. And what I'm talking about is dovetails. I recently purchased a jig kit, dovetail jig kit from Porter Cable, and it's their deluxe model, and it contains more than your regular dovetail jig kit. It has 3 different set of combs. It has a dovetail router bit with the sleeves to put on your router. It has 2 of those, and it has other features anyways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you along with me, and we're going to unbox it and see what's in there. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And it has a 3-year limited warranty, 1-year free service, and 90-day money-back guarantee. So they must have a little bit of confidence in their product, right? And this is what was in the box, okay? It came between two sandwiches of styrofoam, very well packed. These here are the instructions. They were taped on the bottom side of the package. And in here, underneath this cardboard, there's another set of combs. This set of combs came with it as well. And in here, we see the collets. We have a wood Allen key. That's a dovetail bit. And in here is a straight fluted end mill or rotor bit. And there's also another kit here with something else in it. It has 2 sets of collet. These must be the dovetails, or a different size of dovetail, right? I can do larger and smaller dovetails. And finally, this is the jig. Okay? It has 2 surfaces on which you pinch the material, right? First you put your board on the front, then you put your board on the top. You clamp that one first, and then you put that one, and then clamp that one. And whatever's on the comb, on the combs here, the spacing is going to determine what you're making, right? And every comb, I don't know if I can see it here, every comb comes with an etching on it. Okay, so right there it says tails and box. So these two, they do 2 different things. This is like fingers into fingers, and this is really a dovetailed part. And on the other side of this, which is, you flip it over, there is, right there, the other end, the pins for the dovetails. Okay, And this one here that's on the jig at the moment, let's see what this is. This is half blind, okay, which is what I am right now. No pun intended. And everything's etched in here, like loosen joint, tighten joint, depth of dado, like everything, all the instructions are on here, how to use it. So this dovetail jig from Porter Cable is capable of doing 5 different kinds of jointery. The first one is through dovetails, okay. The second one is half blind dovetails. Third kind is rapid half blind dovetails. And 4 is box finger joint. You would see these on like a beehive, okay? And I'm sure you can use it on other stuff, on furniture, boxes, anything. And the 5th one is sliding dovetail. So instead of taking a dado and cutting a slot inside a piece of lumber to actually slide another one in, like to make a shelf, you can make it in a dovetail style, except the dovetail is the whole length of that channel, okay. I'm gonna show you next a picture of each of these, okay. So this is the through dovetail, okay. They call this side, okay, those are dovetails, okay. These sides are the pins, okay, because in reality that looks like a dovetail and this looks like a pin, right? They're all the same width. That's what you see. Like you're going to see this portion of it. They're always going to be on the sides, and the pins are going to be on the front and back, where the joint is less visible, I guess. But these are dovetails because they're spread out like a tail, and these are the pins. The pins go through the dovetail. So both sides, if you're making a drawer, both sides are going to be dovetails, and the pins are going to be on the front and the back of that drawer, okay? So this is number 2, okay? The half blind dovetails, they don't specify, this would be the dovetail, but these aren't pins because it's half blind. You can't see that side. It's just like a clean board, okay? You would use a half blind dovetail on a drawer or any surface where you don't want to see any of the dovetails. You just want to see a clean board, okay? But normally what you would get, you can use this for a drawer. That would be the sides. That would be the front and the back. Okay. Okay, so this one took me a little longer to understand, but now I do, because I wasn't sure what they meant by rabbited. Okay, and a rabbet board would be this, right? If, let's say you had a 1 1/4 inch board and you went around it with a router, equal distances all around, or it doesn't have to be equal, but it makes like a raised square, but it's all one piece. This edge which just machined out of it. They call that a rabbet, right? But you can still do a half blind dovetail on that, okay? All you got to do is use a spacer in the jig to account for that rabbet, and you use the same thickness as the rabbet. If this was a 1/4 inch, you'd use the same 1/4 inch spacer, and you put it up against the guide. So that way you account for this when you start making your rabbets, your half blind dovetails, right? And this is these are the dovetails and these are the pins. But this means that I don't have to fixate a board to make my facial feature of that drawer. Okay, so as this states, it's the fingers joint. It's not got nothing to do with the dovetail, but this jig can do it. All you need is a straight bit, and you follow the fingers that are straight out, not the ones with a bevel. And since your bit doesn't have any angle to it, you're just cutting out fingers. This is an alternative to dado packs, and in my opinion would probably leave a better finish if you don't get tear out. Whatever's the best. Like a dado you almost have to clamp 2 boards together not to get blowout or tear out. This jig, I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. Okay, next one. Okay, so this is number 5. Okay, the sliding dovetail. Now this, I like this joint for one reason. Let's say you had something like a shelf, and you notched this with a dado, and you want to put your shelf in there to give some extra support. What's stopping those boards, once you put weight on the shelf, from bowing a little bit and snapping out of the sides? Well, then you have to glue it and nail it. But if you had a sliding dovetail joint, you wouldn't need any nails. Just put glue in there and you're good. Right? And even that, I'm not sure you even need glue, unless you're afraid of the shelf sliding out. But these are static. They're not moving around. You're just, you set something on there and it's at rest. Cut pins second. Cut tails first. For the tails, you need that dovetail bit, and for the mini you need that one. And this is tails in box. half blind, tails and box. Okay, so I gotta line up with this one. And on the same board, I have pins. And here I have the tails. So I'm going to use this side. And I have to use tails and box depth, which is this set here underneath. They come already set up. If they're not set up, good luck. I have no idea what it's supposed to be. Alright, so something that's a little concerning to me, and I don't know if something a little concerning to me is the depth of this bit. Okay, I don't know if the Porter Cable people are watching, but your booklet, or the booklet states I can clamp and do stuff up to 1 inch. But it's clearly not the fact. If I'm doing a standard dovetail, the tail and pin range is not the same. So I can't go a 1 inch board with a 1 inch board and make my dovetail. It can't be done. I can't go more than, for the pin board, 3/4 of an inch, which means that's the pin right there. The pin would not be seen so that's the pin board there. And they even drew it wrong. They drew it in reverse. 3/4 the maximum. If you want to do 2 same boards to make your dovetail, you can't go more than 3/4 of an inch. Okay. The fingers, I'm not sure. It's going to depend on the bit. I'll have to check how deep the bit is. If the bit isn't 1 inch, you can't do 1 inch fingers either. This bit is 3/4 maximum, and the bit is too short because it seats too low in there. A bit's supposed to sit at the bottom. And what I mean by the bottom is, if you remove your bit and remove your collet, the end of the armature right there, okay, the shaft, that's where your bit should rest on. The bottom of the bit should rest on there, and then you secure it. But if I do that, and I'll show you, and I push that to the bottom, and then you would tighten it down, okay, and then you put your base plate on. Okay, there it's bottomed out. Now all these plates are the same thickness. So if I run that through there like that, and now I measure it from here to here, I get 11/16. Or this is making a liar out of me, but it's 11/16. So that's not even 3/4 of an inch. So I have to protrude this out more. So that's got to be what they were talking about, Porter cable. That's what I got, a Porter cable. Same one as in the manual. Okay, so I've repositioned everything, tightened everything down again. The way you're supposed to do it is you set your two pieces in the front and tighten the knobs, and then once they're just holding there by themselves, you lever down to make sure that everything is secured, nothing's moving, okay? And then you press down on your fingerboard, which is the tails and box deck board, or half blind board. And you're supposed to line up with line A, which is tails and box side, not the half deck, half blind. So the first line here, the farthest one in, and it's the one with the straight and pointy combs, right? And then this gauge is right now to set for a 3/4 of an inch, but it will not cut dovetails at 1 inch. You need a 1 inch dovetail bit to do that, and it doesn't come with the kit. So I'm just setting this deck. And you should be able to spin it and feel friction, right, on the stop. So now it spins freely. And now I can hear it scraping away at the stop. So that's my 3/4 deck. So now we're ready to send that through that piece of lumber. And this is my scrap piece. This isn't this is not, the one on top is only a scrap piece. I'll let you see what I see. So this board is a scrap board. I can cut that out of the picture and restart, but it helps to prevent blowout in the back, right? And you're supposed to center this board between the combs, then bring in your stop up against it, and then set this board up against it if you're doing your half blind. Right now, the only thing that was really important about this was that this board was flush with this and flush with this. So let's measure the depth of that. Just get my caliper here, and we're going to measure the depth. And I have 3/4. The light's in 3/4 right there. So this worked. The side here, depth gauge, was bang on. And now I need to find this bit, the straight bit, okay? And it comes with a plastic coating on it, so don't forget to remove it, okay? Because you might get a surprise if you don't. And I still have to exchange this bit and set it on the same what's that, pin step right here. So I have to set it here. Okay, so I'm going to do that right now. And I can spin it freely by hand till I can't no more. Oh. And it just clears. Like this isn't a problem. I don't have to pull it out and leave that space in there. Because if you leave a space, I don't know, I'm thinking if it ever moves or gets hot and that bit moves around on you, you've ruined your work. Alright, so let's try this. And now I can see why there's a taper to this. That's going to be, it's going to create a pin on one side, right? I would be really freaked out if this was on. Nope. Alright. Good thing it wasn't the good work. I guess you just have to tighten these not really snug, but snug, then quarter, and then take up the rest of the slack with this one. That way it doesn't tend to want to work itself free and drop on you, right? I'll have to look at the footage, but I don't think I made that mistake. So I'm just going to undo this, loosen this off, get my jig off, and now I'm left with the work. There's a little bit of tear out, not a whole lot, nothing that a sandpaper wouldn't fix. Okay. I am curious. This is where you really have to actually do a couple of these before you get them done right, because this side is 3/8 and this side is 7/16, and it said if you split the difference in the combs, which I did, and you always use quarter, 2 1/4, 3 1/4, 4 1/4 wide boards, right? And this board is 3 1/4. So I've reclamped the work, and I'm going to redo the dovetails. And what I did was raise it a bit so it would widen up the jig. Loosen the front. And these are my newly cut dovetails. They're gonna go. It's tight, but I'm just gonna get me a hammer. I'd have to actually try to raise or shorten the distance here a bit more. So there you have it. Okay, this is in regards to the straight through dovetail, okay? On your jig, okay, you're going to do your dovetails first, but you're going to adjust it with the pins. And the way you can adjust it is if I bring this jig in like this, okay, like if I set it down, and if I bring it in that way, I'm going to loosen the joint, which is what I should have done. Instead of messing around with the height, you move your template or your jig fixture. Okay, so now half blind dovetails. Okay, so I'm going to put my piece in, and you would face, since I'm cutting through this, your good side is going to go against the jig. Let's say I don't want to see this knot, so I'm going to call this my good side. I'm going to put it against the jig. And these joints are cut both at the same time, so you don't have to switch the router bit. Let's send the router through this and see what we get. I'm just going to put my ear protection. It's hard to do this justice when you're making a video and you've got retention of your audience for maybe 5-10 minutes if you're lucky, and you got to put everything in your video. It's hard to like all the snags you run into and everything and stuff you'd want to share, but you should go, instead of going left to right, right to left on these, because I'm getting tear up. This is my dovetail, and this is my front or back, and they were cut like this. When you look at it, you can see the taper on there. When you flip it over, one should go right into the other. It's better to use a block, right? You don't want to destroy it. So there you go, you get your half blind. So I was reading through for the fingers jig, and the fingers or box is this jig. It says so right on here, box and tails. Can it be confused with this one? No, this says half blind on it only. So 1/2 inch diameter straight bit not provided. Length of cutter must be at least the thickness of the workpiece. And use the 3/4 OD template guide 420/40. 420/40 might be in there right now. Yep, 420/40. So I've got to change this bit over to, luckily I had one, it's a Freud, and I'm pretty sure it's a 1/2 inch, and it's 1.5 inches long. Yep. So that's plenty long for this jig here. Change my bit. Try not to scratch it. It's cutting pretty decent right now. Brand new. If you want to sharpen these, I'd run them through a buffer with paste. Fine paste, and run for a few seconds. Not going this way, but going from the outer edge to the point of the cutter. So you got to line it up with that mark there with your centerpiece here, and it says tail box, right? And you adjust your depth here, where it says tail box depth. Okay, and I've done that already. I got the right collet for this jig, so it's ready to go. I say it's ready to go, but there, it's fell down a ways. Okay. So, before you get this right, you might encounter some of that, right? And my board in the back here does not cover the whole width of this. So you see here, there's no blowout. No blowout on these, or tear out. But there is here because I had nothing backing it up. So your scrap piece has to be wider than what you're doing here in the joint. Okay, so my first set of fingers were cut on this side. So what I did was I tried to aim it half, leave half the quarter there and a quarter there, and then you loosen this up and you bring it tight up against it, and then you reclamp your work, and you've got to touch the bottom of the jig so you know you're 3/4 of an inch thick. That's important. This piece has to be the same as the scrap. Now for this side, once you're doing the other piece to match this, you've got to loosen up this here and push it all the way to the right. And then you bring your piece here that you cut on the other side, and you've got to line it up so you hit the center. I've got to bring it till I'm right in the center of it. And then I've got to re-tighten that up against it. So I'm not going to be doing the sliding dovetail. This is all the time I got for this for today. But I'm going to finish off this finger joint. Let's see if I got this right. And I'm going to tell you, this one works really well. There you go. The distances ended up right where they should be. So that worked out great. So, if you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.